Good evening, good night, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world. You have just watched the mighty Nearco, owned and bred by Senatore Federico Tesio and Marchese Mario Inciso della Rocchetta, under the banner of Razza d'Ormello Giatta, winning the Grand Prix de Paris at Longchamp in 1938. Nearco, unbeaten, went to start, and he completely changed the world of thoroughbred with his progeny. You should bear in mind that nowadays, wherever in the world there is a horse race, I'm talking about thoroughbred, at least over 90% of the horses running, they carry Nearco's blood. And this is a phenomenal achievement. This evening, we have as a guest a very good photographer who works for one of the biggest agencies in the world for horse racing, and his name is Alan Crowhurst. Alan, welcome to the program.
Hello, Carlo. Thank you very much for the invite.
My pleasure. Anyway, first of all, you should introduce yourself, explaining how come that you started to be involved with horse racing and then becoming a very, very well-known and important and successful photographer.
Well, horse racing started sort of with my grandfather, really. He was a bookmaker now and again, and horse racing has always been within the family. It's the only sport we sort of followed. My dad used to take us racing, myself and my brother, when we were small, probably 6, 7, 8 years old. So it's something that I've always liked and managed to progress into the photography side of it through Getty.
Right. But at the beginning, you didn't start working for horse racing. You start in a different way, if I well remember.
Yeah. So I used to be a computer operator, and a friend of mine bought a camera who I used to work with, and I liked the idea of photography. I wasn't very good at gambling, but I thought I could still go horse racing, not gamble, but take pictures instead, so I could still enjoy it. And it progressed from that point. Right.
But at what age, more or less?
So I would have been 20 odd when I was working on the computers. So 40 plus years now, cameras have been very much part of me. I like cameras. It's not just shooting horse racing, it's lots of other things.
Yes, and if I well understand, the computer nowadays plays a very important part in the, let's say, in the photography business, because you can use the computer to adjust photographs, to change slightly the color, and something like that. Is it true?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, digital photography, you need a laptop, exactly as you say, but with Getty Images, you can only use darkroom techniques. So old darkroom style that when you used to shoot on film. So you can lighten a little, a little bit. You can't take anything out and you can't put anything in. And it has to be virtually how you saw it.
It came in, my cat, Frankel, but you can see he's walking on the desk because he's very curious, probably he would like you to take him a picture. Anyway, you have selected a few pictures that which you have
Yep.
done, and this picture, which we will show in a minute, are all of them are, if I'm not wrong, black and white. Why?
Correct, yeah. Started off shooting black and white in film when I first had a camera, and it's just what I like. I think the images look a lot stronger, and I think you're drawn to the image more because there's nothing to distract you in color wise. You know, your eyes don't wander.
Yes. And then last year, I think in 2023, you won an award for the best picture of the year in racing.
Yeah, with the seagull picture at Brighton races. So I was lining up to shoot the race itself on a long lens, and a seagull turned and flew up the track in the same direction, and I managed to get the seagull in focus, but the horse is slightly out of focus below it. You know,
But of course,
you've just got to be ready. You've got to be
Sorry?
ready to shoot. You've got to be ready for anything. And because I was ready, I you know, you fire a few shots off and you think, oh, I'll have a look at them in a second, and then concentrate on the race again.
Yes, I think that the key for a photographer like you in horse racing you have to be ready for everything at any minute.
Absolutely.
At any minute, because
Yeah,
any minute something can happen.
I mean that you know, that applies to any sport, to be honest.
Yes.
You just because you've seen it on the telly and you know how it works doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen that way every single time.
Okay, let's start showing some picture, and you will explain us why you did this, how you did this, and so on. This is the first one. Can you see it?
Yes, I can. Yes. So I shot this at Warwick races quite recently. So being washed down after a race. This one is actually in colour.
Yes.
And it's my favourite track for this kind of shot because the sun is always behind them, so it's backlit, and you get nice drops of light on the horse, and the water will always be lit from behind.
What sort of camera you use for that?
So that was shot on a Fuji camera with a 200mm lens. You know, you've got to be lucky because the horse is moving, the water's going everywhere. It's not always on the head, and so you've got to shoot a lot of stuff to hopefully get an image. But it's a nice image. You know, it's not all about jumping fences or crossing the winning line.
Exactly, you are absolutely right, because otherwise, I don't say that it's boring, but you have to try to find out something different.
Absolutely.
Because the company you work for, at the end of the day, they have to sell your picture.
Correct. Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Let's move to another one. Can you see this?
Yes. So this is, well, as you can probably tell, Royal Ascot. Once again, shot on a very long lens. And I just liked the glasses. I think it was a black and white dress and hat, matching hat. And she just happened to stop. And bingo, basically. And the fact that it's a long lens, the only focus is on the person. The foreground's out of focus, and so is the background. And I just think it's a nice looking picture.
Yes, but even the people on the back are perfectly on focus. You know, if you look at the lady on her right, the 2 or 3 people there are perfectly. The image is perfectly sharp.
Yeah, because they're on the same plane, sort of thing. They're at the same distance.
I understand.
But your eyes, I think your eyes are drawn straight down the middle to the black and white checkered dress and hat.
Yes, it looks that the lady was wearing a black and white suit.
Yes.
But
Yeah,
and a
I'm
black
sure
and
it was
white
black and white. Yeah.
That's just very, very impressive. Anyway, if you don't mind, now we have a little break. Please don't go away. Stay with us.
Okay. I will.
Now we go back to Alan Crowhurst, and we show another picture, and this one I have to say that for me is very special because I have the great pleasure that Alan gave this picture to me, and I have it here in my office frame, and everybody coming here is very impressed because, in my opinion, is something absolutely sensational. Can you describe this one?
Yep. So this is during COVID times. As you can tell by the mask, you can probably see the mask best with the gentleman in the middle with the bowler hat.
Yes. Also the other two gentlemen, they are wearing masks.
Yes. Yeah, but you can clearly see the one in the middle.
Yes.
COVID times, not everybody had to wear masks, but they did. And it's a point-to-point meeting at Lark Hill near Salisbury. So a point-to-point meeting being horses that go out with the hounds. So they qualify that way. And these three officials. So I was immediately drawn with the bowler hats for a start, and sort of the long trench coat. And it was a very foggy day, as you can probably see in the background.
Yes.
And I don't know, it was just something I had to take. It was the bowler hats that did it for me. And it just looks 1950s in my eyes.
Yes.
And it was shot on film, black and white film, on a large format camera, on a Fuji 6x9.
I see.
So the negative is a huge negative and outstanding quality.
Yes. What is amazing is that these guys, these stewards, they are wearing bowler hats, and then they are wearing, if you wish, tweed coats, which is something unusual because bowler hats are worn by, let's say, people or stewards or people working at Ascot, for instance, during the royal meeting, or at Epsom during the Derby and the Oaks. But this scenery, exactly, it reminds me the 50s and the countryside where these point-to-points are run. And this is absolutely, in my opinion, is absolutely stunning because the atmosphere is unbelievable.
And don't forget the sort of the check coat is very much the country look, and that's what point-to-point racing is. It's all about the countryside, but also the building where it says Declarations Meeting Secretary. I mean, that's a tin hut with like a couple of old wooden tables inside. I mean, it's just great stuff. Definitely a 50s look.
Yeah, this is superb, and then I have to say my office is fantastic. Now we move to another one, and this one.
Yeah. So we're at Kempton All Weather, shot on a remote camera, and I just like the fact that you've got four in a line, with the winner with all 4 feet off the ground, ridden by Rab Havlin. I just like the 4 feet off the ground and the all-weather track kicking up. I think there's quite a bit to look at.
Yes, I understand, because in fact, Robert Tavrin, that is the horse second, I'm watching second from the left, and
Yes.
then with the silk with white spot, and he has all his 4 feet or 4
Yes.
legs, if you wish, in the air. And also the horse behind, who probably towards the rail, is in the same position. If you look at his legs, all of them are suspended in the air.
Yes. Yeah.
And then you say, carry on, sorry.
I was saying it's just you've got the horse second from the right, sort of going forward and reaching out. Then you've got the all 4 feet off the ground. Just I don't know, just a nice bit of white cloud in the background.
Yes, but you say that you did this one with the remote camera. That means that you place the camera on the ground and you use the remote control to shoot.
Yep, I had on this race, I had 3 cameras on the ground with varying lenses, all fired by a trigger from me, and they came past the cameras on this occasion, and then they did another circuit. So I knew I had sort of 2 goes at them.
All right.
And this
was
the resulting.
This is the first time they passed the winning pole.
Yes, this is first time, and I think it was about a mile 2 or a mile 3 race. So that's why they're quite close together. They probably only run a furlong, which is why they're that 4 abreast. But
I have to say that this one could be used easily to teach people to understand how the racehorses, they gallop, how their action is, because you can see all the different position on the legs during the action. You know, Robert Tavrin with the spot, white spot, the 4 legs in the air. The other one with a couple of the front legs in the air. The other one just going down the ground. The one behind with the 4 legs up in the air. So you can it's fantastic because you can understand how the thoroughbred, they move during their races.
Yeah, the movement. Yes.
Which is very important because, you know, when people, they go racing, if they're not very, very knowledgeable about racing, they don't understand, they don't know how the horses move. And this picture shows exactly the movement of the horses when they race. And then the one with the stripe, you can see the muscle, the front muscle between the front leg. You can have a look at the muscle, how the muscle are tense, you know, in the effort to move forward, which is very impressive.
I was pleased when I saw it. I was very pleased with it.
Yes. Now we move to the 5th one, which is another one in color.
So this is Chelmsford Racecourse, which is at the moment just an all-weather track. And to get to the stabling area to and from the track, you go down through a tunnel that runs under the track. And so this horse is
once the race is over, the horses, they go through the tunnel.
Yes, they go back through the tunnel and they come the opposite way for the next race.
I see.
And so this horse, I think is going back through to the stables. And it's a nighttime meeting. So, you know, you've got the blackness of the night, but then obviously the tunnel has to be lit for them to guide them back through and up the other side. And it's just it's just a strong silhouette basically.
Yeah.
But it's different.
Sorry, carry on.
It's a different image. Again, it's not it's not winning post, it's not jumping a fence. It's something you have to look for, and that's what I enjoy. I enjoy trying to look for pictures, find something different. You know, I've been to Chelmsford many times and been to all the tracks many times, but you've still got to make the effort to have a look to see if there's something new.
Exactly, because otherwise I have to say that the finish more or less is always the same. So,
Yes.
for instance, the picture we've seen before with all the muscle of the horses that you can see, the action of the horses, and it seems to me that the horse going back to the stable, it looks like he's going slightly uphill.
Yep. So they go from this angle. They're going downhill into the tunnel, and he's just turned his head.
Yes.
So he's actually going downhill.
He's going downhill, but then he should go uphill, it looks like.
Yep, through the tunnel and then up the other side, and then he has to cross a road with traffic lights to go back to the stables.
I see. That is really interesting. Anyway, we have seen 5, I think, extremely good and extremely interesting picture, because what's very important, in my opinion, is that people had the opportunity of watching 5 unusual picture, if you wish, shot by a very good photographer. And then because you had the idea of shooting something, I have to repeat the word unusual. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, today I've been to Ludlow today.
Right.
So I've done a couple of jump pictures, but then I've then had a look round and tried to find something different, which keeps me interested. It makes me want to find pictures, and if I find something I like, then that's good for me, because you know it's better than keep doing the same stuff, and I can't. Exactly. I get bored doing the same stuff.
And this is the reason why, as you can see, I wrote Alan Crowhurst, The Art of Photography, because doing these things is something that only an artist can do, because just a normal photographer, he hasn't got the idea of shooting what we have seen in this program. You must be sort of an artist, you know, to do that.
Well, it's all about seeing, isn't it? Photography. You know, people say, "Oh, I could have taken that picture," and they could have done if I'd put them in position with the camera. But would they have seen the picture in the first place? That's the difference.
This is the point.
Yes.
There is the difference between an amateur like me, that sometimes I use a camera just to take a picture, or use my phone to take a picture, and the professional photographer. More than a professional photographer, I should say an artist of the photography. Because when we showing those 5 pictures, I think that I have demonstrated to the watchers the difference between an amateur photographer and an artist like you are.
That's very kind of you to say so. But as you know, I get a big kick out of potentially finding something that maybe I haven't shot before. And then once I've decided that that's what I want to do, then you know I make sure I've got the right position and the right lens, and check the right race, and it's got enough runners. It's not a case of just standing there and I'll just shoot the next race that comes along, because you might want 10 or 12 runners, so you might have to wait for a certain race for it to work for you. So there's quite a bit of planning involved.
Exactly. Alan, I wish to thank you very much for your time, and I think that the program was very good, because absolutely something unusual that the people don't know what there is, not in this case, not beyond the edge, but behind the scenes.
Behind the camera.
Behind the camera, exactly. Thank you very much and have a great
Thank you,
evening.
Carlo. Thank you very much.